Hello guys,
Hello,
Dushan here.
and Lazar.
So first off, can you guys please let us know if you can hear us well? We're gonna wait for a couple of minutes for some people to appear first, and we want to make sure that we have the you can hear us. Пойму звук.
Kako ja nisam uključio ovdje zvuk?
To ti je na monitoru zvuk.
Znam, vidi. Can
Hello?
you hear us?
Can anybody hear us? Have the sound? The group. Okay, we have the yes. We have yes from
All right.
Blend Antonio. Hello Antonio. There's Helen. Hello
Helen.
Okay, so we're actually streaming this right now in two platforms. We're streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. So we actually have the so now we have the comments from YouTube as well. So we have sound on both YouTube and Facebook. So how we imagine this Q&A call or live stream, I just want to casually talk with you guys and to try to hear you out and see what are your professions. Are you all architects, or maybe there's some other like designers here and a lot of other people who actually want to learn Rhino. So we want to just greet you all, get to know each other a little bit, maybe share a couple of insights about Rhino and Grasshopper, and also answer your questions that you might be having about Rhino and Grasshopper. We published today on Instagram some of the questions that you'd like to ask us, so we'll try to answer those, and we're also going to answer some of the most difficult challenges that you guys are facing when you decide to learn Grasshopper and Rhino. And we're also gonna touch upon some of these topics, maybe also architecture related and so on. All right, so for those of you who are joining, welcome.
And this is our first question and answer live video. So sorry in advance if there is some technical problems, but I hope everything will be fine.
Yeah, we're actually trying to stream on two different platforms at the same time, so there's a lot of equipment here. So if you make some mistakes, don't overreact, because we're trying to be as natural as possible here. I'm actually a little bit nervous. I don't know about you.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm still fine.
Lazar is fine. All right, so can you tell us where you guys are from first? We have
Mauricio from Mexico.
Mauricio Garcia is from Mexico. Anybody from Serbia, maybe? And yeah, we also forgot that this stream is 20 seconds late, so when we see your questions, we're gonna reply them later on, just so you know for sure. I was just working in Rhino when you went live. Okay. Yeah, Scott said he was just doing something in Rhino. Yeah, Jose. It's similar to the podcast, but it's more casual. I would say. It's more about just talking about everyday problems maybe that you're facing, or just to to get to know us, and we also want to get to know you better. So we know what kind of content that you guys want to see here on the channel.
Helen said on YouTube this is not working.
Okay, let's check. Go there. Okay, so
But
yeah.
we have some questions.
Okay,
YouTube.
so Helen, if you're not seeing this on YouTube, maybe try to switch to the Facebook, because we're seeing people on YouTube commenting, which means it's working for them. Okay, so we have people from Russia doing master's degree in Milan. That's Anar. Hello, Anar.
We have guys from Armenia.
Awesome.
Hello, Armenia.
Lord of the Mountains from Armenia. How's it going in Armenia? Okay, we also have Hashim from Iraq. Cool. We have Barcelona. There's Tears from Brazil. Hello, Tears. Tears was one of the most successful students from Rhino for Architects course 1.0. He's become a master of of 3D printing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He
Cool.
shared some projects that he did. It's really awesome. So great work, cheers. Scott is asking, what do you think about Rhino 7? Yeah. So to be honest, I really think this is a complete game changer, not just for us, but for also other industries as well. Rhino 7 is currently in development, and one of the best attributes of Rhino 7 is the newest sub-D tools that are going to completely replace T-splines for Rhino 5. So if you like to have this kind of organic shapes and organic modeling, Rhino 7 is going to be a great tool for that. They're still working on those tools, sub-D tools, but they're completely capable of replacing T-splines. So hello Miljan, there's Miljan from Sweden. There's also Antonio from Italy and Alexandros from Greece. So another thing that I want to say about Rhino 7 is that it has very cool integrations with other BIM packages like Revit and Archicad. So the newest work in progress version is called Rhino Inside, and what this Rhino Inside does, it actually allows you to use Rhino and Grasshopper within the Revit application. This means that you don't even need to use Dynamo anymore in Revit. You can use Grasshopper within Revit, and maybe you can share a little bit about like what this means in terms of, being able to both use parametric modeling with BIM technology at the same time.
I'm not sure why we don't have questions here from Facebook.
From Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also not sure, but I think we're going live. So, yeah. So tell us a little bit about this. Like, what do you think about?
Yeah. So basically, as Dusan said, in Revit there is a tab in Grasshopper, and it's like real time, because in the same time as you work in Grasshopper, you need to have plugin Rhino for
Rhino Inside.
Yeah, Rhino Inside is the name, and whatever you change basically in Grasshopper, it's in real time changing or modifying in Revit viewport.
Yeah,
So
and the good thing about this is that all of that geometry is directly transferred into Revit geometry.
Yeah.
That means that you create families directly in Grasshopper, which was not possible before. Okay, so are we still live on YouTube? Because we're not seeing. Yeah, we're live. Okay.
Feel free to ask any questions regarding Grasshopper, Rhino, or 3D.
Yeah,
So-
anything that's related to or any kind of like rendering, modeling, V-Ray, we're actually trying, to with our course, we're trying to get a lot of feedback from people of like what is the topics that you guys want to dive in, and then based on that feedback we later create more content on that topic. So similarly to that, we also want to give out more free content on YouTube as well and share more free content. So any kind of feedback from you guys is always welcome, because we also want to, uh, give you the best insights as much as possible. But at the same time, we need to keep the tutorials on YouTube short. So if it's something that can fit in like 20 minutes time, then we would include that. Usually there's a lot of you who send requests for tutorials, and we try to take all of that into consideration. But there's just like too many topics right now. There's Grasshopper, there's this Rhino inside, there's also Rhino native modeling tools, there's the subject tools, there's V-Ray, there's
animation,
like animation,
well, yeah.
a lot of topics. And the thing is that you always want to know what is like the most hot topic that you guys want to explore.
Helen asked
Animation.
I think about animation. I don't think that was a question. Light and texture.
Light and texture. Yes. Yeah, texturing is one of the topics that maybe we should cover more. Lighting as well. Animation is something that we are preparing to in the next course, because there was a lot of there's people who ask for animation. So very cool thing about animation is that now thanks to Rhino 6 and Rhino 7, you can, and also Bongo plugin. Bongo is a plugin for Rhino that allows you to do animation, and it's really completely it's so easy now to create very cool animations in very short amount of time. You don't need to wait a long time to render like you used to before with V-Ray. So that's one of the good things right now.
And we'll get some new features with a new Rhino, and which will include the Bongo plugin for the Grasshopper new version as well.
Yeah. So we have some questions.
Let's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Al Rahman asked about Galapagos Grasshopper. We're planning to create as well in the end of the year course where Galapagos, some part of the Galapagos basic will be involved, and maybe if many of you are interested, we can create some tutorial and publish on our YouTube channel.
Okay, so we have some also some other questions. Antonio is asking if Grasshopper and Revit will be compatible soon. Do we need to learn Visual Arc? That's a good question, Antonio. It's not gonna happen so soon. So maybe like in 1 year from now, because right now this technology is still in development, and it's still it's still being worked on. People from McNeil and Rhino are collecting feedback, and based on that feedback they're trying to get the product out. Right now you can test this. There's a work in progress Rhino 7 version that works with Rhino inside, and you can see how this works a little bit. We had one tutorial on our channel here, and we're gonna create a couple more, just showing you around and showing you what this is capable of. But on the other side, Visual Arc is also a BIM plugin for Rhino especially, and a good thing about it is that it's much cheaper than Revit. So that's one of the things that you would need to consider, and also you would need to consider the offices where you plan to work on, or where you plan to to explore more. Based on that, I would learn that software. So if if the office is working in Revit, then maybe you should focus more on Rhino Inside instead of Visual Arc.
We have a question from Mauricio. I'm still new at Rhino, but it's very difficult for me modeling organic shapes. For you, what's the easiest way to do it?
Okay, a great question,
Maybe
Mauricio.
you can answer about this plan, or
I was thinking sharing about the masterclass and that we're gonna share this in the masterclass. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're actually preparing a masterclass next month. It's gonna be on 19th of March, and it's gonna last until the 2nd of April. And during this masterclass, there will be both live version and also the pre-recorded version. In the pre-recorded version, we're gonna include one big tutorial on how to create organic shapes in Rhino. So that's something that you really don't want to miss, because that's this new subject tools in Rhino 7. If you're interested in knowing that, you will be really amazed of how fast it is now possible to do any kind of organic shape in Rhino. So that masterclass is going to be free, so you just need to sign up, and then you'd get access to these tutorials as well. Maybe we should touch upon the C plugin creation. We don't have tutorials for this.
Yeah, we don't have.
Maybe in the future, but this is more advanced stuff. Like we're now trying to first cover the basics first. And then once we have everything covered from the basics to the intermediate level, then maybe we'll in the future, if there is demand for it, create those advanced tutorials on programming.
Yeah, for sure. That's also the same for the Galapagos, as somebody already asked.
Galapagos and all of those plugins for Grasshopper that are like analysis, structural analysis, environmental analysis. All of this is great. All of these plugins are cool, but first we want to educate you guys to have like the complete basis right, because from there then you can just build upon your knowledge instead of just diving into something that is more advanced and then you get lost because you don't know the basics in the process.
Yeah, but for sure we are planning in the future to cover that intermediate and advanced part as well.
Okay, the next question is
digital fabrication and Grasshopper would be very interesting for me.
Great point.
We're also planning to include that part in one of our future courses, but maybe we can create some 15 minutes tutorial.
Yeah. For digital fabrication, definitely this is a place where we can explore some tutorials for this for YouTube. But this is also one topic that a lot of people ask. So this is also something that near the end of the year we're planning to include in the Bible course for Grasshopper. So we have some new people joining. Hello, Dimitris. How's it going? From Copenhagen. We also have a big hug from Rome. Thank you, Gabriel.
We also have friends from Serbia.
We do?
Yeah, Almarinko.
Okay. Hello.
Somebody asked, hi guys, you said about the marriage between Rhino 7, Grasshopper and Revit. What about Dynamo now? So as we are focused in Rhino, so our main focus will be to deep into that area, into that field, and to develop more that part of the and to create more lessons and tutorials based on the Rhino and Grasshopper. The Dynamo is still there. Probably it also will be developed for the Revit, but our focus will be for the Grasshopper, and we are interested in that part.
Yeah, I also want to mention something about Dynamo. I was listening to the presentation of the developer of Rhino Inside, and they were sharing some cool insight of how Revit and Dynamo are working and how Rhino Grasshopper are working. And then what they actually did, they created a way to use the program from Rhino and Grasshopper inside the application of Revit. So you can think of it as a plugin for Revit. It's not actually the complete new program. That's how it's developed. That means that they explore this because Dynamo is, in my opinion, not as flexible right now as Grasshopper, because Grasshopper is just like a platform upon there is multiple plugins that you can build upon, and it really gives you a huge amount of possibilities.
Yeah.
Dynamo also has this, but it's not, the community is not as as big, and a lot of flexibility from Grasshopper is still not available in Dynamo, and Dynamo is right now a little bit slower when it comes to computing power than Grasshopper.
Yeah, it's not optimized as Grasshopper, and there are like many more possibilities in Grasshopper.
Okay, we have David from Huntsville, Alabama. Hello, David. We have Dipesh Giri from Nepal.
Oh wow!
Cool.
Kristaps asks, hi, are there any good way to make technical drawing with dimensions that respond on changes with visual arc, walls or lines, like in Revit?
Let me just try to understand that.
So if you move like a wall or a window, is that change will automatically
yeah, exactly.
activated?
Exactly. Kristaps is asking, is there a way in Rhino to do the same kind of thing of BIM modeling as it is in Revit? The answer is yes. That's done with the Visual Arc plugin for Rhino. It does exactly the same in terms of, for example, if you put the wall or you put the window and then you move the window, the wall will follow. So everything is going to be connected. It's not going to be like destructive model. It's going to be also BIM model. So yes, to answer your question, that's possible with Visual Arc. Was that?
I'm not sure. I don't understand why this question works like those of.
That some architect or Arch Studio are possible to generate from.
Are possible to generate them with only Rhino and Grasshopper. I know they use their own custom software for their design, but does Rhino
have the ability to integrate with AI data? Jose, I'm actually not sure about this.
Let me check.
I'm not sure what is the if you're talking about okay, so it's some kind of artistic installation.
Yeah.
I'm positive that there is some plugin for Grasshopper that allows you to do some complex computational like what they're doing here with the AI, because I'm sure the AI technology is a game changer now in not only in architectural industry but in all other industries, and I'm sure that learning AI right now and also learning these tools like Grasshopper and all of these computational tools is certainly going to benefit us in the future as professionals, as architects, because we all know that now everybody's talking how machines will replace humans, how we'll lose jobs to robots, how architects will not have the same type of design power they used to have. I don't know, what do you think about this topic?
I was focused on I was trying to understand this question by Deepesh Girl, but can you?
Will there be a Rhino inside Unreal? Unreal Engine probably.
Unreal Engine. Yeah. Deepesh Girl, did you ask about the Unreal
Engine? Yeah,
engine?
I think actually I saw something being developed for Unreal Engine, but I'm not sure it's Rhino inside. I think it's related to Grasshopper only. But yeah, that's also something that is. I think I saw one video of where they changed the material directly in Grasshopper and it changed in Unreal. So I think there is that possibility. But with Rhino inside, I'm not sure also. Yeah, so we have more.
Yeah, architettura toda la vida. Ask Rhino plus Grasshopper and Archicad. There is a new plugin for the Grasshopper, which includes integration Rhino and Grasshopper with Archicad, and also that's our plan. Our plan is to involve that plugin in probably the end of the year or next year.
There's a lot of interest from people who are using Archicad and Revit to be able to use Rhino and Grasshopper together, and they're developing a lot of new ways to integrate these two. Like there is Rhino inside. There's also this integration. I'm not sure what is the name. Do you know the name
Of the plugin?
Archicad and
I don't remember the name.
there is a
Yeah,
plugin
there,
that was developed just for the connection between Archicad and Rhino. So in the future, again, we're coming back to that. First, we want to create the base material for the basics, for the intermediate. Then we're gonna include all of these as well. Is that the one
I think it's
from
just
Graphisoft? Yeah.
just Archicad.
Okay, Christopus is saying it seems that the dimensions are not following geometry. I'm a bit new in Rhino and Visual Arc. Yes, yeah, I think you're probably the way that you created the model is not in a proper way. So, but I think what he's asking, if we change the if you change the complete, for example, the size of the walls, if the
Okay.
dimensions will follow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you're asking.
Are not following.
Okay,
Rhino.
There's a mapping issue with Unreal Engine, Muhammad is saying.
Okay,
maybe.
Good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
not-
tried that.
Me neither. I'm not sure about the integration Visual Arc and Rhino, and what's the biggest pros about the Revit comparing to that. But it seems that dimensions are not following geometry.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get back to that. I'm sure that Christopher will let you know later. We're gonna explore and find out for you. We have congrats for 10K followers from Set Squares. Thank you a lot. I appreciate it. It was not really something that we expected so soon, but it's always nice to know that we're trying to get the knowledge out for both Rhino and Grasshopper. There's a lot of demand, and right now we're like trying to focus more on creating the whole ecosystem about the background and how we want to structure everything. So right now we're following one tutorial per week on YouTube. Maybe in the future we'll do more, but definitely that's something that is great. When we started How to Rhino, it was almost like almost 2 years ago. And I actually started, but I didn't know if people are gonna, use the knowledge and use the tutorials. But it seems that
It was a good idea.
yeah, it was a good idea, because there's actually not a lot of tutorials for architects. That was like the main idea, to create tutorials specifically for architects, and not just product designers, fashion designers, all the other designers, because there's a lot of these tutorials. Are we live there or no?
Yeah.
We are. Okay.
Yeah, maybe something.
Yeah, but for architects there's really not a lot. Now, do you want maybe to read some of these?
But first, the Set Squares ask: Is there be any tutorial on the Ladybug optimization for building design? As we recently said, that our focus will be to do tutorials, like a basic tutorials, and to squeeze them in 15 minutes. But if there is a demand about Ladybug optimization and generally environment optimization tutorials, we will try to create a tutorial, and if it's possible to squeeze at least 15-20 minutes and to publish.
Yeah. We have a question from Paul. Hey guys, I hope Rhino will improve in its history commands as well. Some sort of visual clues of what geometry is in history and what is broken. Yes, I think, like Paul, this is very cool about Rhino community because they're constantly listening for people's feedback, and there's a lot of they're really, the community is really strong, and they always take into the account the feedback from users. So if there's something that you think should be developed and should be improved, just go ahead on their forums, just type McNeil Rhino forum, register there, and you can simply ask them, okay, what do you guys think about this feature? Do you think this would be beneficial? And oftentimes they would take this into consideration and try to work on it and develop it later on. So for example, personally, I'm very active on that forum regarding the sub-D tools, because I think this is really something that is going to be very strong in the future. And I always share my bugs that I found in software, and when you share that with them, they put the post and then they work on it and they fix the bugs. So regarding that, just feel free to go to the forum there, ask any questions that you have about those features that you would want to be developed, and I'm sure they're going to answer.
There's a question: is Maya a better combination to Rhino compared to 3ds Max, as a big studio like Zaha Big use Maya? Personally, I never tried to combine Maya and Rhino. I use 3ds Max before. Integration is not that good because 3ds Max is based on the mesh and the polygons, unlike Rhino, which is based on the splines. NURBS. Yeah. So I'm not sure about Maya.
And also like right now, because like sometimes these big offices, they change workflows from time to time. Like in the past, like we know for sure that like Big used to work in Rhino and Grasshopper, and they're still doing things in Grasshopper and in Rhino, but they're oftentimes changing up, and sometimes they're using Archicad. I think now they're using Archicad, but it depends on the office. Not every office is using the same workflow. So it seems that it's about at the end, it's about the output that you want to get from the software. It's not just about and what is like the easiest way to achieve something. If you're good at any software, like you just need to focus a lot, and I'm sure you'd be able to achieve the same result in two different softwares. It's just a matter of what is the most efficient way between those two. David is saying the filleting really needs to be addressed. Yes, I agree totally with you. I think they're actually working hard on this, and especially with the sub-D tools, the filleting is also one thing that they're trying to improve, and it's one of those things that Rhino had problems with since the beginning. They never really addressed this head on, so I also hope that they'll do it. We have some more questions.
Yeah, we have two more questions. Grasshopper plugin Elk for GIS is beneficial on field.
So it depends. Right now, like the problem with the Elk plugin is that it's they stopped doing the support and the development of the Elk plugin. Right now, it's all right, but I think that there's better ways to import street data into Rhino. I don't know if you check the latest tutorial we did on Rhino. What was it? Lens design. Lens design. Lens design has an awesome integration of how you can import any kind of terrain on the world based on the Google Maps and OpenStreet data. Those are two different sources. So they even pull the data from Google Maps and Google Earth. And the second one is they pull it from OpenStreetData. OpenStreetData is an open source project where a lot of people are contributing and creating those maps similar to Google, but it's a complete new database. And what you can do with the lens design, you can say, okay, I just want one piece of land, let's say in Italy, and let's go to Italy. Why not? There was somebody from Milan. Let's say you want to export some field from the hill in Milan. You just say, okay, I want 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, and it imports the whole model directly in Rhino, and you can use it as NURB surface.
Ishak asks, how do you take 3ds Max into Rhino as NURBS? You cannot import as a NURBS. It will be converted into a mesh, and you can use 3DX geometry in Rhino as a mesh. And if you need some modification, you can modify to convert in poly surfaces and modify it.
That's one way. There is another way that is right now being worked on, especially regarding those sub-D tools that I was mentioning. They have a complete new algorithm for transforming meshes into sub-D objects, and then sub-D objects into NURBS. So this means that, for example, if you take any kind of file from any kind of program that is a mesh file, then you'd be able to do, it's called the quad remesh tool. And what this tool does, it takes your mesh, like if it's completely messed up, it doesn't matter. It will fix it up. You just need to adjust some settings, and you will get quad mesh, which is going to be like the quad mesh all around. And then you need to adjust the amount of meshes that you want to have, the amount of
density,
like a density. If you adjust the density, and based on that, if you like the output result, you can transform that to sub-D, and then from sub-D to NURBS, and then that's how you convert anything from 3ds Max or any other programs. David said he tried from Mesh in Blender and it works pretty well. That's a great tool they added, really.
We have a question from Facebook. Do you have to learn Python programming language to somehow generate complex forms, or sometimes using C++ or C? Do you have ever used them? I found it difficult to learn. Personally, I'm trying to make myself as proficient as possible in Grasshopper. So I'm still not. I haven't tried using Python and C++. But with using Grasshopper, and it's plenty tutorials for plenty plugins for the Grasshopper. Definitely you can generate complex forms, but you can
what I would say is it's okay to, there's a lot of technologies out there, there's a lot of software out there, and the thing is that you really cannot learn everything at once. So my advice would be to focus on one thing. Focus on either learn C++ or either learn Python or either learn Grasshopper, and then you'll be able to use that knowledge later on to integrate with whatever program that you want to use it for. So don't spread your energy around learning all this other programs, because then at the end you won't know anything well.
Like if you want to generate complex form in C++ or C++ or Python, we recommend you to focus just on that, because it's too complex or too difficult to learn that software in combination with some other.
Then what else I wanted to say? I wanted to say something. I wanted to touch upon this interesting topic. I wanted to hear your opinion about this. Do you think that in the future our industry and our work as architects is going to be replaced by some sort of algorithms, generative machine learning, whatever how you call it? What do you think about that?
I think some part, but for the design, definitely not. I think, but some part which can be generated or automated, definitely. I mean, still right now with the Grasshopper, you can automate and
lot, yeah.
many things and change and save like plenty hours of working manually.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I agree. I also wanted to, like, I saw, I remember one also plugin that's being developed right now, the Finch
Yeah.
Finch 3D. So I want to give a big shout out to Jasper, who is the developer of the Finch project. This is going to be released, I think, sometime this year, and this is really going to be a game changer when it comes to generated designs based on some inputs that you give it. So for example, what this plugin does, you just give it, for example, the area of the base plan,
like a boundary, right?
yeah, like a boundary in Rhino, and it calculates like all the possible distribution of spaces inside that base plan. So this is the position for the bathroom, this is position for the room, this is position for the like entrance. So everything is organized based on the given parameters that you give it. So you don't need to spend time trying to design it yourself and think about all the combinations that you can do it, because the algorithm basically can do it for you. You just need to, input the boundary.
How many, on boundary, and maybe how many rooms, what kind of rooms do you want to have, and etc.
Yeah, exactly. And then the whole like buildings can be automated like this and generated. So this is really something that is, I think, going to be a good thing to play around with in the future.
Anthony asked, do you guys use Archicad? I don't use Archicad.
We don't use Archicad and we don't use SketchUp.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking about SketchUp, like how to transition from SketchUp to Rhino, and like what is the like a lot of people are comparing it and saying you cannot do this in Rhino. It's much easier in SketchUp.
Yeah, I heard that many like a million times in China while I work there.
Yeah.
Like, why, Lazar? Why are you doing this in Rhino? Why you need the Grasshopper for this? You can do easily in SketchUp. And they use SketchUp like for all sort of things. And when you open the SketchUp, like even you cannot see a window because of all plugins and all toolbars which they have. Like this plugin is for some complex form. This is for the meshes. This is for the lands, for the trees. Like you cannot imagine how many plugins there is for SketchUp they use in China.
Yeah, so it comes down to like the workflow that you choose to do. Like I'm sure that you can do some complex forms in SketchUp as well, but the thing is that that's all a workaround, and Rhino has like native tools for this which are created for that purpose, and it's really a shortcut when it comes to doing all of those, presentation of the projects, doing the base plans, doing the renderings, doing the the design phase, creating the design options. Then later on, if you want to do BIM, you can also do BIM. You can do animations later on. It's really a complete game changer right now because it involves everything that we need in architectural industry. And also, one of the coolest things.
Sorry,
yeah.
I saw a comment.
Very cool comment, Abdo. I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Abdo said.
Even more, it's Rhino Fresh installed.
Yeah. Abdo said SketchUp with all plugins equals Rhino Fresh install. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to go back to the question, do you guys use Archicad? We don't use, but as we said previously, we are planning to create tutorials and to include in one of our version of the Rhino for Architects course integration of Archicad and Rhino and Grasshopper.
Yeah. So definitely, if you're using Archicad, if you're using Revit, maybe some of you guys are using both of these BIM tools. They are great, and you should use them. Rhino is used for something else. It's not the same as BIM tools like Archicad and Revit. A lot of people think that, like, a lot of people that I talk to, they seem to, like, they always just know Revit and they cannot, or Archicad, and they really cannot express the design ideas that they want in those programs. So Revit and Archicad are great for documentation purposes. SketchUp and Rhino, on the other hand, are more for the design phase, and really like exploring all the possible design options, shapes, geometries, whatever it comes to mind.
All sort of volumes. And I wouldn't compare these two types of softwares. Like as Dusan said, one is for the design phase, another is for the...
Yeah, they work together. They should work together, and that's why they are now developing the ways to connect all of these guys so they can all seamlessly integrate and work. Okay. So
do we have more questions?
I think we forgot one question from Helen. She was asking if we're gonna do some CNC tutorials or CNC work. Yeah. So both digital fabrication and CNC. We might do some tutorials on that topic because, as we said, I think it's possible because it's not too long. But also we're going to include in that next course that we're preparing just for Grasshopper, the complete module just for digital fabrication, 3D printing, and CNC as well.
There's a question. I'm trying really hard to optimize my workflow for architecture. For Rhino user, I've been trying to do my 3D modeling with Rhino, Grasshopper, and export the plans to AutoCAD for layout purposes. Do you guys have any comments on that? What is the best workflow for you?
Yeah, Thiers is asking about like the line work and the layout work. Personally, this new Rhino 7 has so much, like, such big improvements under the hood when it comes to layouts and exporting the drawings directly within Rhino. I remember, Thiers, that you had problems before with annotations, and you had problems with scaling the annotation. So I'm assuming that you still are struggling with that. So that's why you're probably asking this. Like right now, I don't know. Like you can find a workflow for, like, if you're more comfortable doing all of the line work in AutoCAD, all you need to do is export everything as AutoCAD natively. But with layers. You need to organize the layers first in Rhino, do the line work there, and then if you feel more like you have more control of the line thickness in AutoCAD, then just export everything based on those layers in AutoCAD, do the line work there, and then print directly from AutoCAD. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, I agree. What's the next question? From Abdo El Yakubi asks, what do you guys think of Visual Arc? Is it enough to work with all the architecture plan and documentation right now or in foreseeable future? You're more familiar with
yes,
Visual
I think,
Arc. I'm not.
To be honest, to be completely honest, for small projects, yes. For big projects, still not there yet. The problem that right now I see with Visual Arc is the optimization of the geometry and the heaviness of the models. So right now I can see that, like, for example, if you have some kind of big project that has a lot of stories, that is like a skyscraper kind of project, or any kind of urbanistic project with multiple, units and residential projects, I don't think that Visual Arc is good enough yet. Just for that one reason of being the model is still too heavy, and if you don't have a very cool hardware to support it, the model is gonna be lagging. And they're actively working on finding the solution for this. But I would suggest that you use Visual Arc for more like smaller projects, maybe like, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5 to 6 story buildings, not more, because then you would have problems with the memory and all the other stuff.
What do you think about the future of human architects? We already
Yeah, we discussed a little bit about
did
this
that.
topic a little bit earlier. So yeah, we think that design is not going to be able to completely be replaced, and that some of the aspects of our
sort,
industry will be
for
replaced and automated, but not all of it.
Thanks for your answers about Revit. So we have to learn Revit for
BIM.
BIM. My suggestion, I know about you, yeah, definitely Revit is probably the best software
I think
for
yes.
the BIM.
I think yes. Visual Arc can do some work, but if you want to do heavy work in BIM, definitely choose Revit or Archicad, whatever the, in which direction you want to take it, because it also is based on the office that you plan to work for. Okay, so Mauricio is asking, well, what do you recommend to make Rhino models less heavy? There's like, it's not something that we can cover because it's a little bit like longer topic, but in short, you need to model cleanly, completely, without the junk files, without the access lines, without any overlapping, without any necessary things that you import from different programs. They also get stuck in Rhino files, so you want to clean your file. That's number one. One cool command you can use is called Purge. You have this also in AutoCAD, so just use Purge. And sometimes, for example, when you import something from different file, then it also comes with some images. It comes with some different like meshes or blocks or dots or points or point clouds or different kind of data. If you want to make your file less heavy, if it comes to the time when the file gets very heavy, I would suggest just select the geometry that you have and export it as a separate file. And then compare those two, and then you will see the difference, because you probably have a lot of different junk files in the background of the file. That's one thing. The second thing is to have better organization of the layers and the structure of the model. And also it's very good to organize, if you're working on a big project, you need to use work session files. That's something that is, for example, imagine it as a couple of buckets. Each bucket is its own file, but they're connected in one master file, if that makes sense.
Yeah, one funny question we have here. But before, how much time I need to
learn Rhino? Hussein,
it's up to you, man.
It depends on your desire, depends on your commitment, depends on why you want to learn it, if it's a necessary thing or if it's just something you want to know. And
it's difficult to define learn Rhino,
Yeah,
up to which
level. How did you learn? Who do you follow? Us. We learned by trial and error mostly, and Googling and searching and asking other people, asking other students, asking our colleagues, looking at their workflow, copying what they're doing, Googling a lot.
But on YouTube you can find like plenty tutorials and
a cool thing now. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, like, if you really want to learn, just Google it or search on YouTube, and you will find everything you need to model or to learn.
Yeah.
But we have like follow us.
Regarding Rhino for architecture, right now, I think we are the ones that are doing this, the best in terms of getting everything organized and structured, so that it's only just for architects. There is a lot of tutorials for other product designers, jewelry designers, but this is not something that is gonna be helpful for you in your particular case when you're modeling a building or something. I saw one interesting question. Whenever I open Rhino, my temperature increases. drastically. Why? Okay, Wendy. So I'm not sure if you're talking about your temperature, your body temperature, or your
Both.
she said my PC temperature.
Yeah,
Okay.
both.
Okay, so the thing, just like Abdu said, it's probably hardware issue. You don't have enough memory resources, or your CPU is running low on resources. We have a question from.
I think we skip one question.
Which one?
Hey, I don't know much about Rhino. Yeah, okay, we already answered.
Yeah, but I wanted to say something about how we learned Rhino. Also, I wanted to add something. I remember a lot of times because first when we started, like one thing that for me was really awesome is that you could type the commands just like you can do in AutoCAD. So a cool thing is that if you think that some command exists, it probably exists. You just need to find it.
Like copy, trim, move, all these basic commands.
So you just type and you see if something comes up in the command line. So if it appears, it means there is. So, and also sometimes those commands are a little bit like hidden. So just Google it and you'll find the answer pretty soon.
Can you recommend or help me with some kind of roadmap to learn Rhino?
Yes, Hussein, if you're starting from scratch, I would advise you to first start learning the 2D and doing the 2D work, just like you do in AutoCAD, and then slowly transition to doing more 3D stuff, and later upgrading to the plugins. We actually have a course that's called Rhino for Architects that's really made for people in your situation where you're completely new and you don't know where to start and everything is confusing and you just want to have a structured, organized way how to properly learn it for architecture. So that's the structure of our course. So if you're interested, just go to howtorhino.com and you can apply there. And then I'll call you and we're going to talk about it and I can give you more details about it. Thank you, Sejo. He's saying thank you
really much.
Thank you. Okay, we have the last question. What is the ideal workflow to use Rhino in an architectural project? Ideal workflow? First, we will need to define what it means to have an ideal workflow. My personal opinion on this is that first you would use, let's say, you're beginning with a concept, you're beginning with an idea, and then you would have some sketches or you would do some hand drawing, some things like on the paper. Then you would develop more that idea. If, let's say you want to do it in 3D, then you would come to Rhino. And then you would maybe try to create that 3D shape. And then maybe you would try to iterate that shape and develop more different kind of concepts. Or maybe you're good with hands, maybe you can do physical models that they're also good to help you with developing the concept. Then when you create a physical model, you can then transport it in 3D in Rhino. And then have those like diagrams of, showing what's happening in the project, why it's like this, why is the shape influenced by the site or by the other buildings or by the any kind of criteria that you set it up. And then from there you will do the 3D model, you will detail it, and then of course if that's approved or whatnot, then you would either do the documentation and final like work in Revit or other BIM software if you want to make this, if this is the project that's going to be built. And if it's something that is like for student presentation, I would just stick it, like do also the line work and the sections and everything, export all of this from Rhino because it's possible. You can export all of this directly within Rhino with a single click, and then have all those drawings and then do the renderings and do the animation and whatnot with V-Ray, with Bongo. And that's the workflow that I would use.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so shall we wrap it up? I think we're
Actually, my CPU, GPU load are mostly around 0%, yet in increase in temperature, but that's what I don't understand.
okay. So Wendy, it really depends. It depends on the system. I would also suggest if you have this problem nonstop, if it's constantly happening, you should go to Rhino forum, McNeil forum, and this McNeil forum, just post that on that forum. They will give you the answer. They will ask you to send them like one Rhino file, and they will see all the data from it, and then they can give you the precise information. Okay, so should we finish up?
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I want to say thank you for your time, for listening us, and definitely we will do many of these question and answers in the future. And meanwhile, you can post questions on our Facebook page, on Instagram, here on YouTube.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we will try to collect all interesting questions and
Try
answer
to
you
answer.
in the next question answer.
Okay, just one last question from Dimitris. We missed this one. What are your thoughts on Twinmotion? Latest update about the upcoming release was very promising. I agree. Twinmotion, Lumion, Enscape. All of these three softwares are great. I'm all up for Twinmotion and Lumion specifically because they're really regarding the visualization aspect for architectural projects. They're really great, and we all know that the VR is changing, the technology is advancing, and the Twinmotion is actually following that. So definitely something that if there's enough interest, we're also going to create something for integration of Rhino models with Twinmotion as well. Okay, so yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. If there is some questions that we haven't answered, we're probably going to write them down and answering the next Q&A call. I want to thank you all for attending, for listening us. Hope we were not boring. So yeah, I was a bit nervous at the beginning, but as the time went, yeah, everything is fine. Everything is okay. Yeah. So yeah, look for our. If you haven't subscribed to our email list, make sure to subscribe because we're gonna be updating there or everybody who joined about the upcoming masterclass that's gonna be held on March 19th, and it's gonna be completely free, where we're gonna share some really cool insights about Rhino, about Grasshopper, and about Sabri tools. So make sure to check that out. And also, if you have any other questions, you can also write to us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you again for listening, and have a nice evening.
Peace out.
Bye.